Hey guys, Tyson here. We are basically done with this bed, at least this piece of the bed, welding wise. So you saw that basically all the way across there, even up on the inside. I'll run you around this side here to show you. It's basically the same as the other side I just showed you, but I've basically welded the whole thing. More spots or tacks, if you will. So, now the grinding, sanding begins. So I'm just going to start over here on this side. Basically hit it with the grinder to knock it down, and then I may have to sand it to get it a bit more smooth. And then it'll be ready for, once we sand the whole thing and get it ready for primer and paint, basically. But after what I want to do is get all this ground down and smoothed out, just so I can kind of see how it plays out. And if there's essentially anything to be learned before I do the second cut back here. Because obviously, as I mentioned before, this whole thing pretty much needs to be done. It's basically tacked all the way through, but I have to go back through and do the whole finish welding on it. I'm trying to give you guys a good idea. I'm trying to think time-wise of how long this took me. I mean, I'd say probably about 40 hours of welding and fitting. Dinking around trying to get the proportions right and get it jacked up into place and set right and tack it here. And then I got to cut it apart because this doesn't line up X, Y, Z. So, I mean, you're probably looking at a good 40 hours between that and then the welding. So I'm assuming, I've already got, this piece has already been finished, or fitted, I mean. So maybe I can get this done in 30, 20, now that I know what I know. So, we'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna start on this side here. Once I get it ground a little bit down, I'll show you guys kind of how it came out. I'm grinding on the bed here, trying to get this smooth. See, maybe I can do it from here to show you kind of pretty good down that way. Get a look at it if it'll focus here. Yeah, so it looks pretty bad, but you feel it and it's smooth. And there's like a little kind of divot right here between the panels. This side is like perfectly smooth. Well, maybe not perfectly, but very close to smooth. And then this has like a little valley. So I don't know, I may try and fill some of that with weld, like where it's pretty bad, like right here. You can almost see the edges there. But, it's like you put a flat edge across here, and it's like it's flat. Like that. Across. So it's just going to take a little bit of filler in there. So I'm kind of on the fence about how I want to do that. If I actually want to put some metal in there, or just try and use Bondo or filler, it's just... I don't want a ton of Bondo on this thing, but it's going to take some to get it smooth and looking right. But you can see kind of the progression. I just work my way down. And it starts where I'm just starting to knock these guys down, you can see, and then I just come up and finish them off a little bit. I'm trying not to hover too much in one place to keep the heat down. And then all the way down to the bottom where I haven't done anything down here, you can still see it's just the raw kind of welds. But that's what I'm doing. Just wanted to give you guys an update, kind of a midway progress point there to show you what's going on. But once I go a little farther, I'll get back with you guys. All right, guys, progress on the F100 bed. Pretty much got this whole little outer side ground down to where it's relatively smooth. I may go over it with like a flap wheel on the grinder just to polish it up, if you will. Still have to do the inside here. I've been working on this part right here. You can see where it's, maybe you can see it basically starting about right here up. I've been working on that on the inside. And when I'm taking time from doing that, I've been finishing up these welds here on the side. And then kind of going across here. You can see I've got more stitches in there now. And I'm just doing my thing, inch apart at a time, coming through, trying not to get everything too hot. So I'll grind on this for a little bit, then do some welds, then go back to grinding and welds, and then mess with the Sonoma a little bit. So it's kind of been my rotation for the past few days here, but that's it for now. Once we get a little farther on both, I'll give you guys an update. A little bit more progress on the bed of the truck. This whole side's done. I think I showed you guys that before, but the inside is pretty much all done. All the way across, at least grinding. And this side I've made a lot more progress on the welds. This side's done, and then there's some touch up I have to do right along this seam here. I mean, I probably have, I don't know, maybe another 2 hours of welding to do on this, including the other side here. I'll show you which I got done, well, started. That's probably about, I don't know, 90% there, all the way down. And then you can see over here, up inside, it's good to go. All ground down smooth. Started on this side here and got, I don't know, roughly a third of the way down. But it's coming along. It's the same stuff, just grinding and then tacking, you know, the little spot welds because the metal's so thin on the bed back here, and plugging along. Just want to give you guys a progress update, and then I'll show you some grinding here. I'm guessing it'll take maybe an hour or so to get through the rest of this side here, which isn't horrible. But let's get to it. We basically have everything, I mean, pretty close. I mean, 90%, I guess I would say, on the welds and everything. As you can see, I guess you can kind of see the whole thing there. It's pretty much it, and it's really close to lined up. I do have to take care of this spot there. I think I'm gonna have to cut that out and patch it. And then this piece here, that's, I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's kind of bowed in, you know, like it goes like that, you know, and then kind of like that from the other side, whereas it should be just a straight line. You can kind of see where it's bowed in like that. So I got to figure out what to do with that. I beat on it a little bit. I think I may end up just cutting it down, you know, cut through the center of the weld, pull it out to where it needs to be, and just maybe weld in a thin little piece. But yeah, this side's the same way. Welds are pretty much done. I do need to fix that. But I was looking at the alignment, and I have 4 of these. You can see this one here, right there. There's one up there, and then one over here. And those go all the way through into the frame, but they're not bolted, you know, beneath the frame. So I just set those in there to kind of line it up and see how it lines up. I'm not sure if it's going to show this very well on camera, but what I'm looking at is the bump out lines right here. So this line, how does it match up with this line? And you can kind of see, maybe, this side of the bed is in that way a little bit. I think it needs to come out just a hair that way. And then this side over here, the passenger side, is somewhat the opposite. It's sticking out just a hair, you know, looking down that same line again. So this is sticking out just a hair too far that way. So it's like the whole bed just needs to just slide over to the driver's side, I don't know, not even a half an inch, maybe a quarter inch. I don't know if the average person would notice that, but I notice it, and it kind of drives me nuts, so I'm gonna have to do something about it. And the thing is, I may try and see about some different bolts, and I may just enlarge the holes in the frame just a hair to give me that adjustability to move it over a little bit. But I got to pull the bed off to do that, obviously, or just raise it way up, which I think it's easier just going to pull it off. So that's where we're at. I got to pull the bed off, look under there, and I still may need to trim out some pieces under here. I can show you where that, I don't know if you can see that little knuckle right there, kind of butts up against, let's see. So maybe you can see it better there, where that knuckle is, you know, hitting this piece right here. So where I have it marked with the marker there, those two black lines, I may end up cutting that out and then welding in like little patch panels, you know, just to raise that up so I get my clearance there and I can move the bed around a little better. It's just barely hanging up on it, but it's enough to where it's affecting it. It's a problem that needs to be solved. So that's pretty much where we're at. I got to get the bed off the truck, then I can mess with the frame under there, then I can cut those little pieces out down there like I was talking about, and then put it back on, try and reline it up, see where it is, get it bolted down, and then I can I'll address this little thing over here too. But yeah, I'll get right back with you guys once I get everything set up.